Welcome to the next episode. Today we're joined by the amazing Lesley Hensell, and today we talk Amazon, from how to get started, how to get your first few sales, to how to make sure your store in Amazon is a long-standing and revenue-generating and profitable store. So this is going to be a very interesting episode for existing Shopify sellers looking to expand on Amazon, or even new beginner sellers trying to get started on Amazon. So let's get right into the episode. Welcome to the new episode. Today we're joined by Lesley Hensell. She's an Amazon expert, and today we're going to touch upon how to actually get started on Amazon, how to ramp it up, and then what you do from that point on. So pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Maybe before we start, you can give like a quick overview. Who are you? What have you done? And then we can dive into the fun stuff.
Sure. I have been a seller on Amazon since 2010. I always say that makes me like a grandma on the Amazon platform. I'm not a grandma in real life, but on Amazon I sure am. And then I've been consulting with other Amazon sellers and vendors for about 8 years. And my company primarily helps people when they get in trouble. So if someone gets suspended from Amazon, their ASINs are taken down, they come to us and we help them solve that problem. And then we have some other services we help them to grow as well.
Amazing. Perfect. So then let's maybe dive right into the topics. Let's not waste any time. So since most of our listeners, I mentioned, are e-commerce shop owners, so let's imagine a scenario. I'm an e-commerce shop owner. Let's say I'm doing about 200K in sales for like a niche product, and I want to get started on Amazon. So what should I do? What should I know? What are the first steps?
So right now, because of a new program with Amazon, you've got a couple of options. One of those options is to dive into selling on Amazon, and then the other is to think about Amazon's new Buy with Prime program, which can be part of a Shopify store. It'll work with some other platforms as well, where essentially you're using Amazon's fulfillment and you're using their checkout. But the orders are still coming to your store and you own the customer list. Whereas if you go into Amazon as an additional channel, they own those buyers. They own that customer list. You do not. And so you can't market to that list. So I think the first question for someone who's on Shopify or another platform is, do I feel like I'm driving enough traffic myself to my store, or do I need the power of Amazon and its 160 million Prime members here in the US and millions more around the world? Do I want to use that and leverage that to drive more traffic to my listings? So you got to kind of pro and con on that one first. It's kind of a tough decision.
Definitely interesting. Like the stuff you mentioned about where you have like your own Shopify front end, and then in the back you have the Amazon checkout. I haven't really heard about that.
Yeah, that was something I saw in the news as well. My question for that is how does the checkout work? Because I initially I thought it would be very smooth, but then from some people I heard it's not going to be as smooth as others might think. Like you need to like log in, like they basically redirect you somewhere. You need to log in, so on and so forth.
Right, because you're essentially logging as the buyer, you're logging into your Prime account. The trade-off, the thing that Amazon is banking on, is that merchants are going to want to have this because as an Amazon customer, if I see Buy with Prime, I know that I'm going to receive the product faster. Whereas if I don't really know your storefront, or you're an independent storefront, I might think, oh gosh, it's probably going to take me 2 or 3 weeks to get my product, or a week, or whatever that might be. When I see that Buy with Prime badge, I'm going to say, awesome, I'm going to get it fast, and there's easier returns, because Amazon has an extremely liberal return policy. So that's supposed to give me enough confidence that I will choose to make that purchase on your storefront. That's Amazon's sales pitch. But I do agree with you that it's not as simple as I just put in my email address and my address, because I do have to log into that Amazon account.
But if I understand this correctly, so for the checkout, it would not only be Amazon checkout, like the Prime checkout will be only one of the options on how they can complete the purchase. Would that be the case, or would it be completely Prime?
You can choose. So it's just like when you go to a website now and you see they've got PayPal as an option and then their credit card processor. So it would just be one more option to choose from, because you don't want to limit yourself where you can't get purchases from non-Amazon customers, non-Amazon Prime members. Mm-hmm.
In that case, I think that's really good. As you mentioned, like with like Prime, obviously with Prime customers, they can enjoy like the fast shipping, returns, and everything like that. So I think this would definitely be a very good addition to a lot of e-commerce stores. Then maybe to move the topic forward. So like once you actually are on Amazon, let's say you figure out that you only want to have Amazon as like an additional sales channel. So you have your Shopify store, but then also you list your products on Shopify. Like how would then you advise someone to proceed from that point on? Like what should they do to make sure that their Amazon listings are succeeding?
So Amazon has incredible reach because of all of their advertising and their power online, but it's also very competitive. So it's important that if you have an existing brand, you're moving on to the Amazon channel, you spend some real time researching your competitors who are already on Amazon in your niche. You need to see what the quality of their listings are, how many sales you're estimating that they might have. And there are tools out there like Jungle Scout and Helium 10 where it will give you an estimated number of sales for an ASIN or for a niche. And you can figure out, are these guys moving 10 units a month or 1,000 units a month? Because that does matter. And you're going to look for weaknesses in their listings. There are a lot of people who treat Amazon almost like eBay. They just throw a product up there, one picture, a title, couple of bullets, and they think it's going to move. It doesn't really work that way. You've got to really invest time in great keyword research. You need to use all 7 of the images that you're allowed to add to the listing, where you have lifestyle photos and infographics. You can upload video, which video is super important on Amazon. Amazon actually favors listings with video in its search results on mobile. So there are all of these ways that you can have a killer listing. You can actually compete against national brands if you invest in your listings and they don't.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Perfect. And then from that, like maybe before we move on to like the last stage, maybe what are some like quick actionable best practices or tips, or like maybe common mistakes people make at this stage? Obviously, like maybe not investing enough time into the listing, but maybe something more specific or something else you would want to suggest here.
A big mistake that people make is not having inventory available for the demand that might occur. Because here's what you don't want to happen. When you put a new product on Amazon and do a launch, you have a honeymoon period of about 60 days. And Amazon sees anything positive that happens on your listing or with your sales as super great for that 60 days. Everything you do is perfect, and it over indexes it. It doesn't treat it the same as if you get 5 sales, it doesn't treat it the same as a product that's been on there for 10 years that gets 5 sales. They treat it like it was 500 sales. It's all very exciting. So what you don't want to do is not have enough product available and actually have a successful listing. Because if you run out of items to sell, or if you cannot fulfill, you lose all that honeymoon period. It's gone, because when you stop selling, you lose your bestseller rank really fast and it's over. So if you're going to do a launch, have the inventory available either to ship yourself or with a 3PL, or ideally sitting at an Amazon warehouse where it's FBA. Buyers trust FBA more than they trust you because they don't know you. So you want to have product at the warehouse and then have backup units that you can ship yourself or with a 3PL. So if you are successful at launch, you do not lose any of those wonderful gains that you make by running out of product.
Okay, amazing. And then maybe in terms of niches, because in the e-commerce world, like niches change. That's like one of the most interesting topics there is. But on Amazon, like, are there maybe specific niches, price points which are more successful and better than others?
Yes, so price point is very important to consider, especially if you're using FBA. Now, Amazon's fulfillment a lot of times is not that much more expensive than if you were using a 3PL or if you had your own warehouse and you're storing goods. But you have to really build in, the long-term costs. If you have to store things, there's all kinds of extra fees that can hit you. So you have to make sure that you're selling products that have a price point where you can eat those fees and be okay. So most people will tell you, $15 and less, you're really not going to make very much money unless it's a teeny tiny product that you're shipping yourself. You really want to look for $20, $25 or more. And if you're above $25 and it's not an oversized item, that's when you're going to do really well. As far as niches, right now, I think is a great time for e-commerce sellers who sell niche products because of the economy. Large stores, big box chains, they are not buying specialty goods right now. They are buying necessities because their customers are buying necessities. So a lot of niche products aren't even going to be available in big box retailers and the shop down the store for a little while here, while there's this whole reordering of goods after all of the problems that we've had in supply chain and also the downturn in the marketplace. So if you've got a good niche product right now, oh my goodness, I think it's the time to be on Amazon and not in a retail store.
Amazing. Reynes, maybe any questions from you?
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point, because I know, for example, for Walmart, they had their quarterly earnings that came in, and they didn't beat. They actually they missed their earnings, whereas like Coca-Cola and McDonald's, they hit. And I was listening to a video by Tom Nash, and he was talking about how right now Walmart's, they're basically said that there's going to be layoffs, not saying it directly, and also they're going to try to cut prices for the products they sell. And obviously, if someone is, let's say, selling electronics in Walmart, they're not going to treat you as, the top one placement as you might have been previously. Now, as you said, they're going to be pushing for these necessities. Maybe a quick question for the for creating an Amazon listing. Let's say I already have a product that's selling well on Shopify. What should be my listing structured like? You mentioned have videos, have 7 images. Is there maybe like some sort of a special formula used for descriptions? Yeah, I'd like to hear some more info on that.
It is extremely important that you have a benefits orientation on the description. And I shouldn't say description. Amazon technically has this description very low in the listing that most people never get to. The bullets that are up at the top, that's what most of us read, are those bullets. And having a benefits orientation on those bullets is really important. Too many listings, it's like you're talking to yourself. It's like you're talking to yourself about your product and how cool feature A and feature B are. The buyer doesn't care. So you've really got to push benefits. Also on titles, you cannot do an eBay title. You cannot do one of those titles that's super long and has every keyword, the keyword stuffing thing. Keyword stuffing isn't just frowned upon at Amazon. It's actually enforced against at Amazon. They will take down your listing. So you really need to say what it is, but with enough description, and then focus on benefits. And really then the next most important part are those images that are right next to the bullet points. Having lifestyle images, dogs, babies, and hot women in your lifestyle images will sell products. And I do not say that lightly. It is just the truth. You ask any of the companies that specialize in listing optimization, they will do anything they can to get dogs, babies, and hot women into your photos.
Okay, very, very tactical tips. Appreciate that. Maybe this is also something a lot of people can convey over to the Shopify e-commerce world. Okay, great. Then maybe to return back to the main topic of the call. So let's say somebody has set up their listings. They basically are getting like the initial traction. Maybe they run their Amazon listings for like 2 months. They're getting these sales. They have like the inventory. Everything is good there. But what to do from that point on? Like how to scale, how to make maybe even Amazon your primary source of revenue for your e-commerce hustle.
So then it's time to really focus on refining your PPC campaigns. So there are ad campaigns inside of Amazon, native to Amazon. It is all pay-per-click. And it is very important to spend the time to refine and see which words are working for you. So Amazon will do this thing where you can go into PPC, and anyone who's never run an ad campaign can set up a PPC campaign in like 5 minutes, because they'll suggest keywords to you. They'll suggest the spend. They'll suggest everything. Okay, who do you think that benefits, you or Amazon? Yeah, it benefits Amazon. So you really need to... That's right. So the same keyword research that you did on your listing, it's time to use that same research and refine the keywords that you're using in PPC, because you can blow all your margin on PPC campaigns in Amazon. You wouldn't believe the bills people rack up and just don't think about it. It's not set it and forget it. I love, personally, long tail keyword campaigns, because you can get cheap keywords with your long tail keywords, and over time those really help build your listing, especially if you can find like 10 really solid long tail keywords in addition to a couple of regular.
What do you mean
campaigns.
by long tail keyword, just to make sure? That's like basically like maybe less popular keywords, or like what do you mean?
Headphones versus like headphones for airplanes, right? You know, kind of like headphones for professional travelers. Whatever.
Exactly. So, and it's exactly what you're saying, Rainis. It's like when you do Google autocompletes, right? When you're searching for something on Google and it pops up the suggested words, you can do the same thing on Amazon. So you're thinking about how someone would buy your product. So backpacks for smaller children, because some people have tiny children and they actually need a really short little backpack, or backpacks for heavy school books. I mean, these are keywords, and they have very low bids. But as a mother, I can tell you that I have Googled backpacks for heavy books or something similar, because my kid lugs all these books back and forth, right? Those campaigns are really cheap. They don't generate a ton, but they generate enough that it makes sense. And if you have enough of these long tail campaigns, oh my goodness, you can sneak in under the radar on some of your competitors. These do take work, because you have to think about every way that your product could be searched for, every use, and do analysis all the time. But to me, it's like a treasure hunt. It's really fun.
Yeah, that was a question I wanted to ask. Like, how do you do that keyword research? Is it just you brainstorming and just like going inside the mind of a consumer and just trying to search, or are you using, let's say, tools, or using, for example, Google Trends? How do you do the keyword research?
So when you're doing the initial research on your product and you're searching for keywords that are relevant, you can use the autocompletes, and you can also use these keyword research tools. It will tell you quite a bit of how people are typing in these phrases when you use some of the software tools out there, and then you just have to get more creative. So if you look at competitive listings and you see that they are using a certain demographic, like they keep talking about for grandparents or for pet owners or whatever that might be, you need to start thinking about, wow, so are these people using my product? What are some long tail? Start typing in on Amazon to get some autocompletes to come up that are on that demographic, and then try some PPC campaigns to match.
Interesting.
Perfect.
Maybe one last question.
Yeah.
From what it sounds like, Amazon's PPC is very similar to what Google would be in terms of keyword research, bidding on those keywords. I don't know if you've advertised and spent, and how much you've maybe spent on Google, but maybe what are the key differences and similarities between the two platforms?
So with Amazon, you are more likely to actually be hitting your target. As my business Riverbend, we advertise on Google, and there's a lot more false positives happening out there on a Google search than you're going to have on Amazon, especially the more detailed your keywords are. A great thing about Amazon that is the exact same as Google is while you cannot use someone else's copyrighted terms in your listing detail page or your backend keywords, you can use them in your PPC campaign. So it's actually more effective, I think, than Google when you're putting in a competitor's product name or their brand name, that you can pop up their products. If you go on Amazon and try it out, you're going to see it. You're going to put in, Anchor battery pack or something, and it's going to pop up competitors, and you'll see the same competitors across all their listings that are chasing them. So that is super effective on Amazon. I think in general, what you'll find is the targeting can be better, but the potential to overspend is also much higher.
Gotcha. I've also heard, what do you think of this tactic? I've heard that some people do this, where once they launch a product, they don't add it maybe in a super competitive category. Let's say if you're selling headphones, you don't add it under electronics, headphones. You add it under electronics, headphones with, I don't know, small or maybe headphones are large ear cups, a category within the category. So then it's easier for you to sell well in the category. You can get the bestsellers badge. Is it like a tactic that Amazon is trying to combat? Is it still active, and should you use it as well?
As long as you actually fit in the subcategory, it's completely valid to do. So yeah, going to over the ear headphones instead of just headphones in general, if you can drill down and have it in there, do it. Because the only time you're going to be in trouble or have a problem is if you then throw it into something that is completely irrelevant just because it's a small category without much competition. And over time, that will work against you because the search terms, it's not going to be nested the right way. You're going to be on the wrong node, and it's going to want to send headphones to the correct browser node, not over there in children's or something, right? So as long as it's valid, it's a completely reasonable strategy.
Okay, yeah, cool, makes sense.
Amazing. I think it's been a very quick, amazing, and snappy episode, full of value. Before we let you go and let the people know where to find you, we have usually a bit more of a personal question to end off the episode. So, what would be the one piece of advice you would give to your 20-year-old self?
Oh, wow. That's easy. Stop worrying so much about what other people think about you, because other people really aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are.
Amazing. I think that's definitely true, 100%. But yeah, then Lesley, thank you for the episode. Before we go, where can people find you, and why should they find you?
So you can find me at riverbendconsulting.com. We have forms you can fill out to reach us. We have an actual phone number with human beings who answer the phone, which I know isn't cool these days, but people love to talk about their problems. And then if you head on over to LinkedIn and look for Lesley Hensell, I post content about e-commerce and Amazon almost every day. And please do come on over to Riverbend if you've got problems with an Amazon account. And for news sellers, sometimes you get hung up in this thing called verification, where Amazon won't verify your account, and we can help you get through that process.
Amazing. Thank you for the episode.
If you thought this episode was valuable, share it with a friend that may find this useful, and leave a 5-star review so you can reach more influential people and bring the lessons back to you. See you in the next episode.